Recorded live.
FlintTalkRadio.com.
Our legacy is on the air. Listen in as John makes a unique defense of the individualistic liberties and why these legacies must be safeguarded from all those who wish to set aside. Here's your host, John Wilson.
And this is John. This is another episode of our legacy, and we got a late start because we were across town and we had a lot of traffic to deal with because of the construction of the various sites around the Genesee County area. Anyway, we have right online there. We have Super Angry Monkey. He's people who have actually listened to the YouTube or been on the YouTube probably know who this guy is. He's been on there for about as long as it's been on, right?
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, and
almost.
See, no, Monkey and I, or do you want to go by your real name, or just rather go with Monkey there?
You can call me Baskin if you want to.
Okay, Baskin. Anyway, Baskin and I are kind of different people. I mean, he's known for his kind of atheism, and he's also known for his outrageous comments, and I can be outrageous too. And he actually, he's pretty much, I've talked to him for a great length, and I think he makes some valid points about religion and why he doesn't believe in religion and God, and I don't agree, but I think that he's got some valid points, and he's thought about it anyway.
Well, yeah, but I don't really care what you believe either. I'm not one of those kind of atheists.
Yeah, so some atheists are like really we're just bitter.
Well, to me, that's attributing it qualities of a religion anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, once you say, oh, we got to kill religion because religion is bad, and only we know the truth, once you assume that you know the truth, then that's a religion and not atheism.
Well, see, it's I can understand, I can take a distracted viewpoint of, or rather kind of a step back and look at what religion actually seems to be to the outsider, a person who wasn't raised it. It's like, you believe in a God that actually never makes an appearance. You believe in, you find yourself believing in a book. You know, you get your instructions for life from a book that actually is very much in dispute by people like yourself.
And sure, written by savages thousands of years ago.
So I disagree on. It's like I can see where they were probably savages by our standards, but I think
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. They weren't like civilized by any stretch. What we would consider civilized.
Right. But I do
by any stretch.
But I think some of the stuff if you actually look at the Bible, if you look at the other scriptures, I'm not so ready to jump on the Quran as being like such a significant, influential and civilizing book, because I see the otherwise. I mean, this is a thing. This is a fact here. Most people, a lot of intellectuals overlooked that the Quran came into existence far after the Christian, started to develop as a religion.
Right. Well, yeah. It came in. It was like roughly 500 years after.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like
so like a quarter. It's a quarter of the time younger.
Yeah, and it's like, and another thing is too. It's like, I know, and see, Judaism and Christianity and Islam all share the same, Abraham and stuff like Moses being there, like
the God of Abraham.
Right, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, as they would say. Not as well. I think they also the Muslims call people of the book. The Jews and the Christians, the peoples of the book.
Right.
But actually,
that's right.
So, but anyway, anyway, you got kind of interesting life, I think, yourself. You kind of you're a freelance writer.
Yeah, I am.
And you actually make
money. I ghostwrite and I sell porn. I write porno.
Now, my friend, one of my friends is a local guy. He's trying to get books published, and actually, his stuff's good, but they just didn't have a market for that at the time. But the people wrote back, and they told him if you could write erotic literature, that'd be the biggest seller.
Yeah, porno sells. It always does. I don't know why it does. I know why it does, but that always will sell, no matter what.
Now, see, what I think is kind of weird, unusual, and I don't know if you said we could bring up stuff in your own life. You were raised in a very kind of divergent background, more than different than most people around here. You were belonged with the Church of the Brethren you were raised up with.
The Church of the Brethren, yeah, I'm Pennsylvania Dutch. That pretty much, I guess that defined my atheism, but also a lot of my personality. Like, the Church of the Brethren, I think all of them, actually, all the Pennsylvania Dutch sects it's picked to be baptized on your own. So when I hit about 13, they said, Baskin, do you want to be baptized? I said no, because I pretty much decided by then. Not that I didn't believe in God, but I knew something was wrong.
Hey, by the way, there's a follow-up question I forgot to ask, and I just pointed out by my producer. Where can we read your work at? Where can somebody go to read some of your work?
I mean, I sell a lot of stories to phone sex operators.
Mm-hmm.
They send them out in mails. I sell a lot of content for like adult websites and stuff like that. I mean, you can read bits and pieces of my work in a lot of places, but the problem with doing what I do is I don't get to really maintain any creative control over what they do with it. They just sort of cut it apart or take whatever they want and do whatever they want with it.
So yeah, that would be kind of frustrating as a writer, I think. But
and then as a ghostwriter, like the other stuff, I'm not allowed to talk about it.
That's a contract.
I'm not allowed. Huh?
Contractual agreement, right?
Yeah. And I want to keep working. You know what I mean? So I don't really want to. So the thing is, it's hard to get a book. It's hard to get a book published, and it's not so hard. Like I do try to publish my own stuff, and it's not that it always gets totally crushed in my own harsh editorial process. Okay. I end up tossing it when it's got my name on it for some reason. I just can't let it go.
Yeah, it's like getting back to like your upbringing. See, I'd like to know. This is really, I think it's interesting about your religious backgrounds, because the Church of the Brethren is actually connected to the Mennonites and to the Amish order, correct?
Yeah.
So it's a very strong kind of like certainly, well, I'd say pronouncedly, decidedly religious background.
Well, yeah, it was. It was. But the thing is, with my religious background, although it was very profound and very present, it also was very non-aggressive. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they have a different kind of, not the Amish so much, they'll quit talking to you, but the Brethren, they don't cram that down your throat. I'm sure my own parents wish I wasn't an atheist, but they don't have a big problem with it either,
They think maybe just youthful enthusiasm or misguidedness, right?
Well, they think I have a grudge against God. Actually, my mom has expounded on this. They think I'm angry at God for not doing stuff.
Well, see, from the talks I've had with you, I don't gather that. And the thing is,
I mean, I can't really be angry at God, because it'd be like me being angry at, I don't know, fairies or ghosts or goblins or whatever. Well, you can't really be angry about it because it's not there.
Well, in your opinion. But anyway, let's go.
Yeah, in my opinion.
Right. And I was like, see, another thing is, I don't know if you recall this, but Madam Muriel O'Hara, the most hated atheist in American history,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you ever recall or ever seen maybe rebroadcast, because I don't think you were around at the time when she was on the Phil Donahue show. I don't remember. She was on a couple episodes, I believe. I don't remember.
I wasn't around, probably.
Yeah, so it was like people hated Phil Donahue at that point, because he actually allowed her to speak her mind and her piece about it. And she did say a lot of outrageous stuff, so people were listening to it. This was before Springer and before, Oprah's not really as wild as Springer. I mean, I don't like Oprah's show.
Yeah, well, Oprah's not, they're not, she ain't trying for, like, shock.
No,
like
she's
Springer.
I mean, she's definitely, she's actually, I can't really knock her. I just, that's typically more for females, and I'm not, interested in their topics, But,
I just think it's funny that Oprah appears on the cover of every issue of the fucking Oprah magazine.
Well, surprise. That's kind of an
It's like, well, you couldn't just take a picture of something else just once, a flower, a tree, a rock.
It does seem, and besides, I mean, she still has a show on, I guess. I mean, that's how much I'm...
for sure. She'll never be off the air.
I think after she, God, I'm not wishing this, but after she passes away, and we're all going to do that at some point, I bet they'll still have rebroadcasts of her programs going on. I mean, I can see that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. She did make herself from nothing into, like, something big, so you can't really knock her for that.
Definitely, I just that goes to show me right now that the capitalist system and the American media and stuff like that is a great way to change things, and I think a lot of women who watch that have actually had their perception change of black females and black, other minorities and stuff because of her show. I mean, so it definitely did a great thing for in a lot of ways. I mean, not only for her bank account, but for a lot of things, perceptions.
Well, right. Well, that's the main idea behind capitalism. If I come up with a really great idea and get rich on it, the really great idea is bound to help somebody else other than me.
Exactly. I mean, even if a capitalist wants to be greedy, they eventually want to.
Well, greed is such a, I don't know, it's such a childish term in general. I refuse to use the word, actually.
Yeah.
Because human beings are all naturally self-serving.
Mm-hmm.
We all naturally and intuitively seek to serve our own interests regardless of whatever else is going on.
Sure, correct. I mean, well, the thing is, I was going to say, too, that the capitalists can't hold on to his or her money as long as, some people would like to believe. I mean, if they want to get more money, they have to spend more money, such as advertising, hire more workers. Basically, people, and to the capitalist viewpoint, if you're just strictly capitalist, you might be looking at people as a necessary evil. But, there's not something that you can do in your life that you're going to have to do totally on your own. You're going to be tapping into somebody else's resources, information,
well, right.
or whatever.
I mean, you're going to have to hire somebody at some point or whatever. I understand that, but, man, I think... But then you're not really relying on them then. They're, like, disposable,
You could argue that everybody's disposable, though. I mean, even the people who are, the capital. Look at Henry Ford. He was disposed of. He died, So, I mean,
yeah.
And the company still went on without him. I mean, basically, he was like, if you want to use the typical thing at level that industrial societies, we're all cogs in the machine, and they say that disparagingly, use that as a thing to mock and demean capitalism, but essentially we are every one of us can be replaced. I mean, in almost...
Well, I don't know. I don't think that we're all cogs in a great machine. I think that, they'd like us to think that. I think that it's a tool that they use to get us in the factory and pumping out another unit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think it's just a trick that people play to get us to keep producing. There's always a scam. There's always a way to work outside the box. Just people just lost the edge to try to do it on their own.
I see that around here. Genesee County, I don't know if you're familiar with our area, but they lost thousands and thousands of industrialized jobs, in the factories of GM.
Yeah, it happened in Pennsylvania, too.
Yeah, I was going to say,
the steel industry's gone, yeah.
No, you actually are still. You're not in Pennsylvania anymore, though, correct?
No, I live in Georgia now.
Yep.
I moved here after I got out of the Army.
No, that's another thing I want to touch up on, too. The war that you fought's basically still going on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, what are your thoughts about us being there still? I mean, you were in the military.
Well, I don't agree, but I don't agree. I'm not taking the typical conservative viewpoint saying, or the typical liberal viewpoint. I don't agree. I don't agree with the way it's being fought now.
Right.
It's not worth the cost, both in human life and money and throwing. But we're not there. We're there not to. We're not there to win. We're not there to win. I don't get it. I think that a war should be left to be up to fought by the military.
I agree on that too. I mean, it's like that's what there was. When I was a younger kid, when I was younger, I saw that going on with Vietnam, and we won every major battle. And now,
and that's what's going on now.
Right.
It's just going to be this everlasting peacekeeping mission that we're going to throw dollar after dollar after dollar after dollar after dollar after dollar at a faceless enemy, and they keep the enemy faceless so that it's always a threat. We can always say, oh, there's terrorist activity here, so we need more money and more troops, and I just, and then there's people like they think, Barack Obama is going to save the day and withdraw the troops. It's not going to happen either.
No.
It's not going to happen. We have vested interest in staying there.
Yeah, we dug ourselves in. I mean, no, that's another thing. I saw one of your diatribes on your YouTube entries there into Barack Obama a couple of months ago, and your opinion hasn't changed much since that about him either, has it?
No, it hasn't changed. But the thing is, I mean, I'm so jaundiced by the entire thing. Like, even I know, even if Barack Obama doesn't win, it's only a matter of time before somebody just as bad gets elected. I mean, just a matter of time.
300 million people in this country, and the best things we got, to choose from are John McCain and Barack Obama. And that's sad.
And that's awful.
I mean,
I'm serious. I got to vote for John McCain. I haven't voted for a Republican since I could vote.
now, you actually were kind of a leaning or sympathetic to communism when you're in your youth, correct?
I wasn't sympathetic to communism. I was a socialist anarchist. But I grew out of that. I mean, I think it's a viewpoint that you eventually grow out of. I only really had one major ideology shift, and that was property is theft to property is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Because once I owned stuff, I realized that I don't want to share my stuff.
That's more candid. That's more candid than most people who are, on the left would admit to themselves. I mean, they desperately try to keep their stuff for themselves, but they want everybody else to have it ripped from them to give to somebody else.
Well, even in like the anarchy counterculture and everything, nobody's given up their leather jacket. Nobody's, you know what I mean?
It's like, well, I think Milton Friedman and it was attributed to saying this. It's like, if you're not a socialist before you're 30, you don't have a heart. If you're a socialist after 30, you don't have a brain. And
that's good. That's a good way of looking at it, because it's counterintuitive. Again, it's irrational. It's just as bad as any religion.
Yeah, it is.
If you ask me.
Matter of fact, communism certainly has like the sickle and the hammer. Those are actually religious icons.
No, sure, and iconography is very important to get people to rally behind them, because only 20% of the population is secular.
Right. But it's like, besides, I think you could probably agree with this, even you being an atheist. I think there's kind of a religious impulse, and generally most people, a religious impulse, and that can be filled with like a religious activity or secular activity, such as political. But the impulse for like having orderliness in life and stuff like that, it seems to be very common in all people.
Well, yeah, it's human nature to want to attribute qualities of order to something disorderly, though. It's the way we're programmed by a gene to, this is a rock, this is a tree, this is a flower, and this happens. Why? That's the reason that religion was invented in the first place, if you ask me.
Well, see, I can see the desire. Okay, if you're just like some person living in the middle of a real hostile environment, you'd want some kind of measure of an idea, as a psychological factor, for safety. For safety.
Well, right. The first way to learn to control your environment is to label your environment and attribute qualities like, this is dangerous, this is hot, this is cold, this is good to drink, this is good to eat, this is, you know what I mean? And then we went on from there. And once people started getting into bigger groups, order will spontaneously happen in small groups. But big groups, they needed a way so you could convince all the people that one guy or two guys or however many guys had the authority to tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then religion came about, because we needed to not only prove that we can tell you what to do because the God said so, but we can also tell you what to do because we have all the answers in these sacred texts.
So it's like, well, see, the thing is, I notice, what I can see, though, what you're saying, how society created and how that comes about the need for orderliness and stuff like that, actually comes from more of a rational basis, rather, as most atheists would say, the need for religion is irrational in its origin, and I think just the opposite. I think it was a necessary tool. I do. I'm not going to say it was irrational because they didn't know any better. You know what I mean? Right.
That's the thing. Do I think it's still necessary? Absolutely. I mean, look at the last time I called your other show, the guy who told me I deserved to die or whatever. The only thing stopping him from kicking in my door and blowing my head off is the Bible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it's like it's like another thing. I like to tell people, it was like when we were doing our original internet radio show, one of the callers, it wasn't anybody in our group, we were discussing with Baskin about this stuff, called in and said basically Baskin deserved to die, and he would do it if he could, and that's what he said.
Yeah,
that's pretty chilling. Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was pretty chilling.
Well, and he totally meant it too. Like, he was dead serious.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to show you the love of God. If you don't believe me, I'll blow your head off. You know, it's like...
Yeah, well, you know, that's how religion spreads.
See,
that's how they did it.
So I'm actually kind of very conservative in my viewpoints in religion because I'm actually I'm a Calvinistic leaning Christian, you know, Presbyterian church and all that, and so I mean that's like. But the thing is, I really don't have issues with what you believe because. Well, I mean, I naturally would like to encourage you to become, you know, believer. That's what Christians are supposed to do.
But you know, the same thing applies. I'm not going to anybody's door and saying, you know, this is why God isn't real, and you know, I want to talk to you for a minute about atheism.
It's like, but lately though, you see all the books, a plethora of books are coming out now about atheism. You got people like Richard Dawkins, and then Christopher Hitchens.
I don't know. He should have stuck to what he knew.
That's
evolutionary biology.
So I don't see how you go
extract celebrity whore.
Yeah, but I have a professor friend who calls people like that, and Stephen Jay Gould. He was a guy who wrote extensively on that topic of evolution. And Stephen Jay Gould wrote for the Nature magazine from the American Museum of Natural History for years. Plus, he was a Harvard lecturer and stuff. My friend used to refer to him as a moral bully.
This fight fuck is over.
Still.
So anyway, I don't know where that came from. Anyway. So anyway, no, I think it's pretty cool that you and I, like, you know, we talked a lot about atheism and stuff like that, and I just
we talk about all kinds of shit.
It's like
all the time.
Now your YouTube show, you average quite a few hits on every episode.
Well, I'm a lot different on my YouTube show than I am on your show. I'm behaving myself.
Keep it mild, huh?
Yeah, I don't want to have any listeners go, oh man, who is that nut? On my YouTube show, they kind of expected me to just flip out and tell you all why you're stupid and I hate you.
It's beyond misanthropy for you. It's like anger.
I really don't like people at all. I'm telling you, I'm not a big fan of my species.
They're just a bunch of pansies.
That's true. But
that's the truth. That's one of the main reasons. It's more like they're stupid and they're cowardly is the two big ones.
And they consider it a virtue. The virtue is to be that way, you know.
Well, right. You know, to fit in that little mold, to be a, you know, I'm going to go for 20 years to a job I hate, working for a guy I hate, for what? Enough money to eat, you know, and then they want to go home and cry and kick the dog and beat their kids. But what's the point of that? If you hate the job, quit the job. There's always, like I said, there's always a scam. You can always do it on your own.
Yeah, that's okay.
They haven't taken that from us.
So that's kind of an independent attitude. That's like that's what I think what fits into the show. You know, the scope of the show that I hate to use the term envision, but when I started seeing what the show coming together, you know, our legacy.
You can say envision. I won't hold it against you.
I always say people who have visions should lay off of hallucinogenics. That's what I always say.
They're eating desert cactuses.
Yeah, it's like peyote and mushrooms and all that stuff. But,
I can turn this radio show into a magic carpet ride.
But so I think atheism and the charge of atheism and also the political dissent.
Well, I think it's the duty of an atheist to fight not religion, but to fight control.
So like the Nine Inch Nails song. You know?
Well, right. Why would I hand over my shackles and throw myself to the wind against everything I was taught to accept another form of slavery?
That's, you know, you struck upon a kind of a chord there that I actually think is probably really relevant in this American society. I mean, right now people are gonna vote for Obama thinking he's gonna be so vastly different. He's not. He's still part of the
he's bought in just as much as the rest of them. He's bought in, and I don't think he'll destroy it tomorrow, but he's going to take big steps. You know what I mean? I don't think it'll be gone by the time he's out of office or whatever. I think possibly, you know, and this is me being totally cynical and pessimistic because that's just how I am, I think possibly the best thing that could happen is Obama getting elected because then people will realize how good we had it.
We had past tense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I mean, I wish I could step up and say, hey, McCain, vote for McCain, vote for McCain.
Oh, I can't do that either. I mean, I'm going to, but I don't have another choice.
We don't. I mean,
I don't feel good about it.
I don't. I mean, it's like I wish we could have none of the above as a category for our ballot.
I thought about writing in Ronald Reagan actually.
Yeah, Duddy. So now you were like, how old were you when Ronald Reagan left the presidency? You were pretty young, weren't you?
Shit, I don't know, 6 maybe.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I mean, in retrospect, I mean, I wish he. How do you like Bob Barr, by the way? I mean, do you like him?
He's all right. He don't have a snowball's chance in hell, and I think there's too much riding on this one for me to vote for Bob Barr. I'd vote for Bob Barr if it was less at stake, I guess.
Yeah, because I think well, let's face it. I mean, it's like I know a lot of people.
I mean, I voted for Ron Paul. I did. I voted for Ron Paul. I voted on the issues. I voted for the fair tax. I did that, and now I have McCain or Obama, and I can't.
Somebody's asking here about how do you feel about Ralph Nader?
Oh, Nader? He's all right, except the environmentalism thing. I don't totally hate the Green Party. I just think that they want to throw a lot of money into the environment when the private sector could do that on their own.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like the producer and I were talking about this kind of stuff earlier today, and it's like a lot of times if people do stuff and let people know about it, and then other people who are really interested in that particular topic latch onto this. Say, I like this so and so because they did this. They're pro this, but they're not this or whatever. That actually is a good thing in their own right. Just be what they are, stand by their own principles, and allow that kind of stuff to actually carry them. And that's what I think. That's more generally issue driven than the way that our political process is going on now.
The thing is, I love Newt Gingrich. He's a Republican. I love Newt Gingrich. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't look at the guy by party and say, "Oh, you suck." You know what I mean? They're both for big government, though. Like John McCain and Barack Obama. Like, I don't really think they're that much different.
Let's like getting back to Nader. I mean, my friends and I talk about him a lot, and I don't agree with everything Ralph Nader stands for because I
agree with him more than I agree with McCain.
Oh, definitely. But the thing was, at least he's always been morally consistent. The man's always been consistent, and he's never been
morally. And not only is he consistent, but like you can respect that because he's not butt in.
No, he isn't.
I can't respect anything any of the two parties say, I think. No, because that's where I'm at.
See, the thing is, I would say the reason why I can't trust either party right now is they're so willing to abandon one principle they might have that I could have clung to. The Republican Party is failing, and they're selling more and more individual freedom in favor of big government. The only principle that they're going to stick to is their commitment to the unborn. Yep. I don't identify myself as a conservative. A lot of libertarians do that. But true conservatism, at least in the governmental sense of the word, they don't stand for that anymore. There is no party for that anymore except the Libertarian Party. And then I'm totally jaundiced with them too. I was going to say, no, you've been taking them to task and getting a lot of reaction from them because of your ideas and your problems with the Libertarian Party. Why don't you talk about some of that?
Well, my problems with libertarianism isn't in its politics. My problem with libertarianism is in its philosophy. It's the philosophical libertarians because I'm not one. I've come to realize that I'm a determinist. I don't believe in free will. I don't believe that we're born free. I believe we're born subjected to natural law. And then to societal law.
So I think societal. See, natural law, that whole issue right there, basically, the idea of natural law, and I always see the problem with that idea. And I agree with a lot of the tenets. I agree with what they're aiming at. But what I'm saying is the assumption that we're born with these certain rights. I've always found, if you look historically, rights...
we're not born with rights. No. We are the only people who have rights in a lawless society are the people who can take rights for themselves.
Exactly.
And then they only have them as long as they can sustain them.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's like, that's the reason why the Second Amendment is such a chief issue to my political thinking is because...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The right to defend yourself. It seems silly and ridiculous to actually be given the right to defend yourself, but when you look at historical precedent, they will take it quick. They want to take it.
Right.
They want to take it. They want to take it. And then who's going to have guns? Criminals and government. And in a lot of cases, they're just as bad.
Well, actually, what's the difference between my friend made this point years ago? A couple guys in the neighborhood. They were talking about starting up a business, and he was telling me we got to pay this guy, you got to pay that guy, you got to do this, and I said, well, that's just adding money. He goes, there's no difference between working with the government, and working with the mob. There's very little difference.
Well, even look at Barack Obama. He's tied in with the mob. That's what they're saying anyway. I know. I really can't prove it. They say he's tied in with the mob though, because he was trying to rise to political prominence from Chicago.
Yeah,
I mean, really, if they're smart enough about it, the crime is already inherent in government. I mean, a certain degree of corruption is inevitable. I don't think we need to get rid of all government now, tomorrow. But I don't know. I think there should be less. Definitely less.
I think it'd be a good thing to aim for, though.
Well, you know, maybe that's the shot group we need to aim at. No government at all, just to get ourselves closer to what we need to be doing.
By the way, I got a book here. I think it's kind of appropriate. We're talking about. This is a book called The Devil's Dictionary by Ambrose Bierce. These are interesting, and it says a conservative is a statesman who is enamored by the existing evils, as distinguished from the liberal who wishes to replace them with others.
That's good. That's good. It's totally, I don't know, it's totally fucked, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of my country, and I'm proud to be an American. I went off and I served my country, and I did what I was supposed to do. But I don't know. I'm totally jaundiced with the government and the American people, you know, in by and at large.
I think that's what's the expression I've heard, and I think it's appropriate now. If Obama gets elected, or McCain, unfortunately, we're getting the government we deserve, I guess, of these two selections, and we're allowing these two selections to be foisted upon us, you know.
And that's what they want, though. They want you to, you know, what am I going to get? That's what they want. They constantly play what am I going to get against each other to make sure that you have no real good choice. They always do that. And I was actually yesterday reading about the fall of the Roman Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically Julius Caesar, who was like a man of the people, and everyone liked him, and he was getting the government to help out the poor people, and his veterans were getting Roman colonies all over Rome. And when he was elected dictator for life. So I don't know. I kind of see the wheels turning.
Yeah, well, basically, it's bread and circuses for this country too. And that's what, you know, the reference that I'm making about the Roman Empire is like basically they were fat and sassy. They would spread themselves so thin, and they actually covered a lot of areas. They had a lot of slaves. They had their food, their basic needs being met largely by slave labor and screwing the people from other conquered nations. And
sure.
And then basically then they sat there and just they got decadent and fat, and that's when it started crumbling. Then they had that, you know, let's face it, the advent of Christianity did kind of dealt a death knell to the Roman Republic because of the emphasis now on being kind of soft-natured and stuff like that, and being compassionate, yeah.
Well, I think compassion in a governmental figure is a red flag for me anyway. When they started talking about compassion, I'm like, no, I want somebody who's not going to be afraid to just step on opposition. But on the same page, I don't want somebody who's going to, view me as opposition.
Right. I mean, it's like I want somebody to. Yeah. Basically, it's been cases been made. And a couple of my friends are talking about this. That basically, we have too responsible government. Somebody complains about it. Politicians fall over themselves to try to come up with a cure. As long as that'll guarantee them that voting block. You know.
Well, it'll guarantee them their seat. See, what people don't seem to realize, congressional, how people are satisfied with Congress right now is lower than it's ever been, right?
Right.
And they don't seem to realize, I don't understand, but they don't seem to realize, like, we can fire Congress.
Yeah.
We can fire them. We can elect new guys to do that job, or girls or whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to be exclusatory, but
we could. I mean,
I don't know. It's just ridiculous to me that people. We could fire Congress, and why don't we do that? But, if there's only 10% of the people who think Congress is doing a good job, why don't we fire them?
Right. By the way,
all of them.
By the way, I don't know if you remember a few months ago, there was like a guy who came out who said he was a limo driver for the for Barack Obama, and during the course of time he was serving as a limo driver, Barack Obama had sex with him as well as did drugs with him. Did you ever see that guy? It was on YouTube.
Yeah, I saw that, but I don't believe that either.
Do you think it was like? He did put himself in harm's way because let's face it, the Democratic Party's going to jump all over it, and let's face it.
Well, sure they will, but I don't think I believe that. I think that if we're gonna, if you're gonna try to beat Barack Obama, you got to beat him on something substantial. Like everything else that people have been casting, he's Muslim sympathetic. That's not gonna work.
No,
that's not gonna work.
That worries me, but it doesn't work for the general population.
No, it doesn't worry the general population. It's not going to work. It's not substantial. It's not, and I don't believe it. You know what I mean? It's not a worry for me.
Right, no, but you are not. You are definitely against the Islamofascists, as you call them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm against any kind of theocracy or government anyway. I certainly don't think that they should be allowed to just run in here and kill people, but again, my misanthropy kicks in and I can say, well, maybe that wouldn't be such a bad thing.
So it's like, because you're, I kind of respect you as you're in your 20s and you actually served in the first half of this current war. Yeah. And it was in Iraq, correct?
I was in Iraq.
Yeah, so it's still going on. It's a long war already. This is a long war. And
it's never going to end.
And it's like, what was it? Newt Gingrich said that, as well as I think Newt Gingrich said it's going to be a 50 to 100-year war, or scenario.
Well, it's going to be just like Korea. We're going to be there forever.
Yeah, my dad.
I don't know. See, my solution to the Iraq War was always like, why don't we arm the Kurds?
Yeah, because they got a lot to take. They got a lot of rage in them, and they probably want to pay.
Oh yeah.
Would that be a good thing though? Would that really be a good thing though? People have that much of an axe to grind. Would they be that? They'd be efficient killers, but would they be good administrators after they won the battle?
So what? They don't live here.
Now, did you run into Kurds yourself when you were over there yourself? And see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all right. They're all right. I don't even hate the Iraqis. I don't hate any of it. That wasn't my problem. It's just trying to distinguish who hates you from who doesn't. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, it is. You're in the rock and the hard place there. It's like
Well, yeah. I can tell you a story. I had a 12-year-old kid jump up on my ambulance for medicine, and I knocked him off with the butt of my rifle because I didn't know if he had a bomb.
And you felt bad?
We were driving in convoy like 45, 50 miles an hour.
Well, if you didn't need medicine before that, he certainly wouldn't need it afterwards.
I don't know. I didn't want to hurt. I didn't really try to hurt the kid. I more just shoved him off. But I didn't know. Basically, in a survival situation, if it comes down to between you and me, I'm gonna pick me every time.
I think that's. People like to think that they're different. I wouldn't do that, and I think that's a little crap.
No, I would never do that. I would try to share. Yeah, you would try to share.
I've seen that in less such intense situations of warfare myself. And around here, people want you. Around here, people are so poor. They actually want you to help them out, and you want to help them out. But then again, you can't do detriment to yourself either.
Well, this is the thing. Is it really helping them to hand the guy $10?
No.
Is it really helping him?
No, probably not.
Did you really help him? I could see, guy stranded on the side of the road, ran out of gas, give that guy $10. That might help him. But not the guy going, man, I don't have any food, and I don't have a job, and I don't have this and this and this. They're about to shut off my power. Can I borrow $10? I don't see how handing the guy $10 is going to help him.
All right.
You know what I mean? I don't see it. I was very liberal back in the day, and I used to hand money to every homeless person I saw, and they'd tell me, oh, they're just going to buy beer and drugs. And I thought, shit, if I lived in a box, I'd buy beer and drugs too.
I had a story to tell about that. I got my ex-boss. She lives now in North Carolina. She had a friend that lived in Baltimore. And he and his friends would be at bars and stuff like that, coming out late at night, and they'd have guys come up and ask them for money. And actually, they started engaging in this thing called a street row of Jeopardy, and they'd ask these guys questions, and if they were able to answer the questions, they give them like larger and larger amounts. But they always say, "No, we're going to play this game. You can get more. You can get this money now, or you can get more money later if you play this game. You can get a big amount of money." And he said, "This guy goes, hey," he said, "No, we're not trying to make it funny because you're homeless and all this stuff." And one of the guys who was homeless said, "Hey, I don't care. I'm homeless, and you're saying if I answer the questions correctly, you're going to give me more money. Okay, well, let's go on with it." And they held like a homeless Jeopardy tournament. That was pretty funny. I thought it's kind of callous in a way, but it's kind of funny too.
Well, the thing is, it's a reflection of society. I mean, people are callous. Whether they want to admit it or not, they can cry compassion all they want. But what people are really looking to do is save their own asses.
Yeah, and another thing, we're talking about this kind of comparison, like compassion and all this stuff. The producer was like asking too, is like, what do you see the difference between like Starbucks laying off all these people because they got to close 600 stores up in the United States, or when GM does that? What's the difference? When GM.
Well, I think like people seem to have this idea that the jobs are yours. It's your job. No, it's not. It's not your job.
Right.
If that company packs up and moves on or has to shut a bunch of shit down, it's not your job. You can't cry about it. They provided you a job.
Right.
You filled a slot.
That's like that's exactly. It's like this minister at the church I go to occasionally. He said it. People always want to say about labor is a right. You have a right to a job. But basically, you're really still dependent on the charity of some people initially to hire you because you're a risk. They don't know anything about you. And
not only are you a risk, but like you were saying, people are a necessary evil. Like, you might not get a person that you want, and then with the insane amount of power that like unions have, you can't decide who's going to be a risk because you can't get rid of somebody if they are a risk to your comfort and security,
right?
In your business.
That's a thing. So my grandparents had a restaurant, a local restaurant. It was a big one back in the 40s. They opened at 1947, and they had 65 employees. And believe me, man, it was a big restaurant. It was actually the place to be. But they said that my dad said he'd go back at night and check the dumpsters because people would like toss them. This is a steakhouse. There's a steak and lobster and all that. And then people would they'd wrap up steaks, toss them in the dumpster, and thinking that when they get out of work, they're just going to drive up to the dumpster and load their car up with thousands of dollars worth of stuff was disappearing. And it's like I think it's like people. I'd like to start a business. I'd like to be able to employ people at a good wage so they could have a good life. But the thing is, the reason why I'm doing a business for is because I want to make a profit. I also want to have a job myself. I'm running the place.
Right, and you don't want to lose your business because you invested a lot of money.
It's your name on it. All the contracts they signed with the banks and lending institutions, whatever, that's your name, and that means it's going to follow you if everything goes to shit. Basically, and people don't see that. I know so many people here think that business people are evil assholes. That they just want to make money. Well, but you want to make money for them. Yeah,
don't you want to make money?
It's like
money. And that's the thing. That's the question you need to ask them. Like, I hear people bitching and complaining. They want Walmart employees and McDonald's employees to make more money and get benefits and all this other shit. Walmart and McDonald's are not meant to be your career.
Right. They're introduction level.
Unless you're going to move up, you got to move out.
Right. And I'm like, well, the producer just put up here, he says, a business in business to provide jobs and health care. A job is a byproduct of a good or service, goods or services,
Yeah.
And people they miss that. Especially the liberals in this country. Oh, you have a right to a job. People have a right to. They have an obligation to employ you, and that's a load of crap. You got to be a good fit.
You don't have a right to a job. You have a right to live, and you have a right to own stuff, and you have a right to be free.
You see,
that's it.
The hippie conservative years ago, he and I were talking when we were still working at that place he works at yet, and he said basically the founder said you have the right to pursue in the pursuit of happiness, but they never said the gaining of that's going to be up on the government to provide for you. No,
the pursuit of happiness is just stuff. It's flowery words to own stuff.
And stuff's good stuff.
What?
And stuff's good things. Let's face it. people get unmaterialistic. They go to the point of destroying it. You're getting over materialistic. Well, you know what? We all like things. We all need things.
Well, it's not just. I mean, we can talk about the difference between stuff you need and stuff you want, and we want both, and we desire both.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff you need, to meet your survival needs, and then stuff you want to attract potential mate. I hate, and as much as you hate me downclassing people to animals, the game is not really all that different.
Well, I did like that video you did a couple of years ago. I think it was when I first started getting on YouTube about monkey. You did like the comparison, like you showed humans engaging in things and apes engaging in the same thing. You kept on saying, well, humans are monkeys, and you kept on showing this. That's your name, superangrymonkey, I think.
Yep.
And that was that piece was quite well done. It was humorous as hell. You still
that was the point. I try to be funny. Is the thing, and I kind of got away from that for a while, but I'm getting back to it.
Even George Carlin got kind of bitter towards his life, though. He got kind of like bitter about things, and I don't know if you've seen that. Everybody who falls into my boat did their little George Carlin would have been pissed if he found out we were all crying about it. I think so, but I mean, I didn't cry about it, but I'm going to miss. I mean, in a lot of things, I got mad at what he said, but I still like the man, and I'm going to miss the fact that he's not going to be able to do any more comedy routines and stuff like that, because I like the guy,
Well, he was a true artist. He was a virtuoso. But on the same page, if you're really looking to honor and tribute him, okay, he's fucking dead. That's what he'd want you to say.
He's dead. Well, did you hear what the time he said about George Carlin and Richard Pryor, like kind of like they had their success going up at the same time, and Richard Pryor had a heart attack. Then George Carlin says, so I had a heart attack. And then Richard Pryor caught himself on fire, and I said, fuck that, and I went and had another heart attack. But he said he got tired of all this macho crap, about macho crap was saying, not plug you in, to life support, stuff like that. Don't do the life support. Just let me die. And George Carlin goes, hey, plug me in, plug everything in. He goes, got a toaster, plug in it. I want to live.
So, I want to live. I mean, I don't want to live, though. I don't want to do the life support thing.
No, I think that's just more of a burden on your family. Not just the financial part, but let's face it, if you're doing that kind of stuff, there's no chance you're usually likely of you coming back from it.
I mean, keep me on for 2 months or whatever the window is for me to wake up. But
well, see, the church I go to actually says that they believe that she should sustain life if there's a chance for it to be recovered, but they don't believe what they call heroic efforts, which such as being put into like these life-sustaining, stasis or
Well, here's my one of my problems with religion. That I don't understand why true believers cry at funerals.
That's a good point, and I think a lot of ministers have addressed that. That they said that they it's basically you cry because you're going to miss them, but you're not. It's your own selfishness.
It's selfishness and it's doubt. Right. Is what it is. It's doubt.
Yeah, it is. It's like
people always say, "Oh yeah, he's in a better place." Well, what if he was an asshole? You know what I mean?
Some people. Let's face it. I mean, I believe in heaven and hell. I mean, some people deserve heaven and some people deserve hell. I mean, it's like I'm so tired of this crap. I hear people talk about, well, I know my uncle so-and-so's was up in heaven and he's drinking beer with his buddies and playing cards. Look at man. Okay, that's fun for a while here, but let's face it. I don't want to spend eternity doing that. Sitting in my butt.
I don't know. See, if you ask me, hell is where all the cool people went anyway.
Yeah.
But I'll be down there rocking with Frank Sinatra and James Dean.
Yeah,
it'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's like another thing is too. It's like like one time I had a minister tell these kids in a church. He used to give a little sermon to the kids, and he said about Adolf Hitler, and he's in hell for sure. He's like, well, but if you follow what the Bible teaches, you're not even supposed to guess where a person's at because
it's not up to you.
Right, it's not up to you. God could decide at the last minute to yank somebody from the line to hell to put them in heaven. That's what I was always taught. So to speculate about where the person's at, it's just kind of pointless. There's no way of gaining that knowledge.
But, to say, I don't know. See, I find the belief in heaven and hell to be irrational.
Well, I actually think the roots for the idea of heaven certainly could be rational because if you look at it, if a person's suffering and working all the time, that's all they're doing. They work in the fields. They have no other kind of repast or whatever.
Well, that's why Christianity works so well. to give everybody the chance to go to this fantastically wonderful place, and not just if you were a warrior, and not just if you were a badass,
So that's like
if you were just a guy working the fields.
So I think that's a kind of a strange thing too, though. People like I think it was in the Letters from the Earth. It was for a book written by Mark Twain. It was about a correspondence between two devils. And one of them says, "Do you ever notice? I find it surprising. I'm paraphrasing here. That people fill their afterlife with activities they find hard to do for 1 hour a week, such as singing praises and praying. They go to church one day a week, and they force themselves to do that."
But that's the thing. Like I've often said, if there's a heaven, it's bound to suck. What do you do? You're just in bliss forever. What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, anyway, hey, Monkey, we got to get going because the audio is doing some weird things on us here, so I'm going to wrap it up right now at the show. But I'd like to thank you for being on, and also give yourself get a chance to give yourself a prop for what you do on YouTube.
Oh yeah, and my website is www.superangrymonkey.com. You can find a link to my YouTube profile there.
Okay.
Super Angry Monkey is one word. There you go.
Okay, I'll just okay, now I'll also keep you on hold the line here. Okay, hold on the line here. Okay, we're checking out something, I guess. So I'm getting I got we have this new way of watching, getting messages from the producer through our the laptop we have on this table here. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because something's going on. Weird, a real horrendous shrieking going on, like a electronic shriek. I guess the best way to describe it.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Okay.
Fix it.
Okay. We're in the show anyway. We'll keep you online. I'll stay online here. So we're in the show, and I hope you guys are listening. We'll come back next week, and I hope people are listening to the podcast. And thanks a lot, Monkey. But stay on the line. We'll talk to you in a bit. Okay.
Okay.